Welcome to the Rooted Business Podcast. I'm Rachel, your intentional marketing architect.
I'm Jess, your systems and ops guru.
This podcast will talk through our experiences as seasoned business owners, open up about our triumphs and challenges. We'll share candid conversations and invaluable insights to help you establish a business that stands the test of time.
Together, we've navigated the ups and downs of running a successful online business, and we know firsthand the importance of finding harmony in your hustle.
In each episode, we'll dive deep into the inner workings of your business operations and marketing strategies while we peel back the layers to reveal actionable advice and practical tips that you can implement right away.
We won't stop there. We believe that true success goes beyond profits and the growth charts. That's why we'll explore the critical role of wellness and mindset in your entrepreneurial journey.
Because burnout is a real threat, and we're here to help you avoid that. Together, we'll uncover the strategies and practices that prioritize your well-being, ensuring you have the energy and resilience to thrive in the long run.
Join us as we delve into intentional business growth, sharing personal stories, lessons learned, and expert advice that will empower you to make informed decisions to grow your business.
So if you're ready to harmonize your hustle and create a business that thrives while honoring your inner balance, don't miss out on the Rooted Business. Subscribe now and embark on this transformative journey with us.
So is it just me, or is it so funny how you change one part of your computer setup and you feel like a complete toddler, like don't know how to work your stuff anymore?
That's me.
Webcam. Yeah, I got this new webcam and I went from having to like have client calls over there on the other screen to here. But now it's like everything I do, I don't know how to do it anymore. I have to retrain myself, and I feel like a fumbling little person trying to figure it out.
With your fancy AI tracking webcam.
I'm gonna not raise my hands because then you'll start tracking me. But
Yeah, that's the main reason why I can't do that, because I would 100% like zoom over here.
yeah, and then if I like do it on
a
a client call and he decides to go that way, you're gonna see all the mess that I've hidden from.
That is true. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about. All right, let's get into the episode. So, what are we talking about today?
All right, today we're talking about getting to the root cause of your business problems or your business woes. I think really part of being an intentional business owner is like not trying to just take things surface level, and we want to go deeper. So today we're talking about how to get to the root cause of our business problem. If you're anything like me, when you were just starting out, you thought that your biggest problem as business owner was just getting clients, or at least that's the lie that I kept telling myself. As soon as I'm able to magnetically attract all the clients that I want, all my business issues will be solved. I'll be happy. I'll be peaceful. And that could probably not be farther from the truth.
Truth, that is seriously so true.
More clients, more problems. I don't know.
Seriously, no, that needs to be put on a shirt. Yes.
Different problem. It's no one tells you that when you sign up for entrepreneurship that solving problems is your main job. And no one else to solve them except for you.
What I think to add to that, no one else tells you that when you start your journey of entrepreneurship or your business, that you're about to open a fire hose of like self-awareness directly straight to your face. And it's something that can make and break business owners, make or break business owners. And it's something I've dealt with. I know you have. I talk to a lot of people who have gone through that kind of roller coaster of emotions of imposter syndrome, self-doubt, all of that. And really like self-awareness is absolutely key to understanding and going deeper for your business problems, for your own problems. And so this episode, we're really going to talk about getting to the root of the business problems, the issues, the woes, and just have a conversation about some of the practices that we use to identify and solve the problems in our business so that one, you don't get completely ran into a wall of burnout, but you have a lot of support around you to maintain the momentum that you're building.
Yeah, I completely agree. I consider myself a personal and business development junkie. Like, I'm here for it. Show me all my scars and let's heal them. But I was like, this is another level. Like, I do yoga and you get to the deep shit with that, but this is another level. I just made our podcast explicit. Like,
It's fine. It'll make it more interesting.
but yeah, you get to, yeah. And I think it's so easy as especially when you're a solopreneur and you're doing everything to get caught up. I know this sounds cliche, but get caught up in that hustle and bustle and getting stuck in doing mode and not ever taking a step back to pause so that you could be self-aware. And if you're always like skimming on that level, then and you're never going deeper, then you're gonna just stuck in this cycle and be treading water based where you're at and constantly being reactive to issues rather than proactive to issues. This was one thing too that I had a great mentor when I was back in the corporate world, and she was a big proponent of white space. She would always say, you need to create white space so that you can
Mm.
take the time to plan. I worked at a retail store, but she would make us work from home the first 2 hours of our week to carve out that white space so that we could look at our numbers from the past couple of weeks, think about what happened in our businesses last week and identify what was working, what didn't work, how did we feel? And then from that self awareness, you're able to take it and figure out the most aligned way of moving forward.
Yeah, I think that is such a great practice. I don't know if a lot of corporate entities do that, but I would say they probably don't because you have so many business owners that are now existing independently and they're launching and they're not looking at numbers or they're putting out new offers and they're not selling something and then they immediately go and make a new one and they do all of these things, but all they have to do is pause and look back and get a little analytical, get a little reflective into the process. And if they only had that practice or somebody telling them, like, hey, this part of reflection is probably the most important thing when things are not going well, when you want to do better, anything, whatever that looks like. If you just have that pause, it gives you so much clarity. It's so powerful.
Yeah, I agree. The magic is definitely in the debrief all the time. And I like to look at both quantitative. I know we're both fan of using data to make our decisions in our business. I'm a numbers girl, so are you, but also qualitative data because you also want to, and that's how you find the balance of that masculine and feminine energy in your business is that you're balancing that masculine numbers with also, but like, how did it make you feel when you were doing this?
Yes.
Or did you feel excited doing this? Because that's what's going to keep you going for long. But really, digging into the numbers can help you not like, I don't know. I've been in part of so many launches where like the numbers don't are in part of a launch actually right now that is going on. Like the numbers are this person has a phenomenal community. Like they show up, the conversion rates are like out of this world. Like we're used to seeing 30% sales page conversion rates, which is crazy in any other world. And for this one, we are seeing 13% conversion rates on the sales
Mm.
page. We still had 100 people buy, but this client was like, oh, maybe this offer is just not a good offer. We should get rid of it. I'm like, there are 100 people buy it. If you're a grandma, that means your offer is validated. If 100 people have bought your offer, it is validated. Now let's back up through the sales process and see where things are getting a little off. And we were able to see that it was it was the messaging on our sales page that was where people were getting off. So we tweak that for next go around, but do not throw your offer out if your numbers are numbered.
Mm.
I've had a client, I've also seen people where they'll launch and they're expecting these big numbers because online we're told we can have 7-figure launches in 14 days, which is not
With 10 people in your audience.
yeah. And they'll launch and they'll have a small email list but all of their conversion rates, all of their open rates, all of their click rates, everything is above industry standard. And I'm like, that's a win in your book because
Yeah.
you're performing. Don't throw but they'll throw the offer out. I'm like, no, don't throw the offer out. The offer's good. Your funnel's even great. Your funnel is working. The machine is working how it should be. You just have to feed it more. Like you just have to
Yeah.
feed it more. And that's usually, I don't know, but that's normally the number one thing that I see is that like everything is working fine, but it just feeds the funnel a little bit more. And
Yeah, there's 2 layers before any launch that I go in with my clients. The first layer, super analytical. I will pull, I think it's a calculator that you gave me. It's like I will pull all of my numbers, put in our average conversion rates, top of funnel, sales page numbers, all of those things. And I will say, okay, realistically, if you maintain traffic or got this many people here, this is the sales results that we're expecting, like realistically. But then from an more of an emotional side of things, I always dive into something that with my clients where I say, we need to know emotionally what is enough. What is enough in our eyes? Because a 30% conversion rate on a sales page, phenomenal. People would pay $1 million for that secret formula. But for someone that maybe has a little bit of perfectionism or a layer of something in the emotional side, if they don't have the defined enough in their business, you're going to keep chasing. You're going to keep chasing and pushing and burning things down and rebuilding and doing all of this when ultimately there's 2 levels to it. You can look at the data, say, hey, we're on track, be on track. Or, and then 2, say, I'm good. I'm really good with this. Let's celebrate this because this is
yeah.
really powerful. I think those are the 2 things that I always do with my clients because it's so impactful.
Yeah, I love that. I love that being proactive before. We definitely have now debriefed after and been like, okay, so we know that the numbers are going to come and that perfectionism, I have healthy perfectionism, unhealthy perfectionism myself, but we know that the numbers are going to come and you feel so exposed. And if it's not what you thought you were expecting, or if you get any inkling that this is not going right because you're so exposed during a launch, then you're going to shut down, which is what
Yeah.
this launch. So let's be proactive next time and record the stories ahead of time so that you don't have to
Yeah.
feeling energetically aligned by that launch, that you can still keep showing up and you're not like sabotaging yourself. But that's when like reflection, we wouldn't got any of those, I guess, being able to pull out any of those like action items if we didn't take the time to stop and reflect. She would have
Yeah.
thrown full offer that sold 100 and made $50,000 in a business this week away. And I'm like, those are phenomenal results. We're not throwing those away. This is working. There's just a couple of tweaks to do. I think that's why maintaining a growth mindset. I don't know if you've ever read that book, but by Carolyn Dweck, everything is an experimentation. Every
Yes.
skill you can learn. There's always room for an improvement and like sail forward in your business. And that is all I have to say about why sail for so important in your business. But if you have something to add, go ahead.
I think you said it really well. It's so powerful. And I want to add something to the hilariousness of the online space because it's, you know how they always say on TikTok to live delusional and be delusional? There's a lot of delusional people, healthy and unhealthy, in the online space where they're saying, like, push forward with this and you'll get $100,000 and all of those things. And I think that the tech, like the, not the literal, what is the word that I'm trying to say? The analytical side of things, where if you quite literally approached it and it doesn't take any like energy out of it. I used to have a client that would say, I can't look at numbers because it kills my energy. I'm like, I feel like it should support your energy because you can look at it, you can have more confidence, you can do a lot with it. But when you're not looking at your numbers, you can get that comparisonitis where you're like, "Oh, they just said I had to have high vibes and good energy and I would have made $100,000." And it's okay. Let's work back into it. I think that's fascinating. And I think that's something that's always going to be, we're going to be very transparent about on this show is like the delusion, the
Yeah.
unhealthy delusion of the online space. Cause it's,
Yeah. Because it's
we're out
not,
there.
yeah, it's not fun to talk. I felt, and it can be fun. I think it can be fun, But it's as someone that's working in this space and very versed in it now, it's like now when I see someone like spit out a revenue number and I'm like, yeah, but what was I'm not interested in revenue. I want to know profit. I want to know conversion. Like I want to
Yeah.
know, right? Those are the real win behind the numbers because I want to know the deeper story. I actually just had a thread convo with somebody about this. And I'm like, anyone who's really throwing out like those income claim marketing, and you
Mm,
might feel different to me, income claim marketing claims is probably trying to sell you like hot garbage because like they
yeah.
need to understand and go different. So I had a little back and forth because I know not everyone agrees with me on that. Like income claim marketing, I guess, might be useful. I don't personally like to use it in my business because there's so many caveats. Like this, I just shared how much this client makes, but like she has worked years to build that
Yeah.
Instagram. It wasn't like, and my client implemented my 5-step launch plan and she made $50,000 in 1 week. No, like we've been working together 3 years to build this up to this point, and that's what a lot of those like 60-second TikToks. Anyway,
Yeah.
I feel like
No, I need to add to this because literally I
off on a
had,
whole other thing.
I know.
Take
This is
over thing is
so
that I'm in it back in.
okay. Literally, I made an Instagram post the other day about this, but I didn't post it. Quite fascinating. But it was the conversation in my head that I can't claim my clients' income successes. There was a component of it that I supported, which was their email list and their email strategy. But if I personally, and this is where I get really bothered by the people that are like, I made, or my client made X amount of money, blah, blah, blah. There's so many layers to it. Like my clients aren't solopreneurs. They have teams, they have OBMs, they have copywriters, they have me, they have all of these different people who are meeting very frequently to ensure the success of a launch. And if I put out a marketing promotional post saying one of my clients made $150,000 the other day on her launch, I'm proud of her, right? Like her win is my win, but I can't claim that I made my client $150,000. That's just not reality. Is it clickbaity? Yeah, totally. But I think there's a layer to it that is like the integrity and the values of how you run your business. And any person who is strategic in a business like you or like me can understand that because I participated, I supported the dream and the result, but I ultimately, like my existence didn't generate that $150,000. It's her authority online, it's her confidence, her messaging, the consistency that she's built. So put tag me in that thread because I want to go off on that thread.
Post that post and I will definitely tag you. I actually haven't been on threads. It's a whole nother story about how that was
Either.
I feel. But anyway, I feel like we could have a conversation about threads and the Barbie movie and like what they did right with that with Barbie and what they are doing wrong with threads for retention. Anyway, things that are happening on. I constantly analyze operations marketing everywhere I go. Okay. Back to the topic. So we're talking about getting to the root cause. So I want to,
Yes.
and the problem is if you don't identify the root cause, you're going to stay stuck and you're going to probably make some bad investment and you're going to probably waste a lot of time. And that's why it's so important today that we want to talk to you about not like how to get to that. But we also want to talk about some of the symptoms or some of the common things that we see when people do get stuck and why they're getting stuck and not finding the root cause. And so one of this is stuck in do mode. What we just talked about a lot is it's really important to carve out that space so that you can self-reflect. I
Yeah.
recommend a weekly, at least 30 minutes doing like a reflection on last week. I love seasonal, I call them seasonal resets. You can call them quarterly planning meetings, but that sounds too corporate for me as a chance to just take a minute and like one, because we don't do this enough as entrepreneurs, celebrate everything that you did the last 3 months. I did it like
Preach.
2 times where I would do this whole blog post of celebrating like of my quarterly recap. And it's like,
Mhm.
I could not believe how much I did in freaking 3 months by myself as a little solo entrepreneur. One, the seasonal resets give you a chance to celebrate or celebrate what you've done so far, but also reconnect to your core values. So I love to revisit like what my core values and my priorities and where am I carving enough and health and wellness is a core value of mine. Am I carving up enough time for that?
Yeah.
If not, that's where we can go like root cause, but those sort of things. And then reprioritizing for the future. So I think carving out those seasonal reset days, carving out, we talked about annual planning time,
Yeah.
all of these little planning, having a plan to plan. I did do a post about this the other day. Here's my plan to plan. And it's like, I'm planning on weekly, I'm planning daily, weekly, quarterly, and annually at this point. And
Wow.
I plan. And I'm basically that's and really when I start to implement these in my clients, they're like, whoa, like it's so much different now that I'm having a proactive approach to my business rather than like constantly like just showing up and like squashing emergencies, trying to figure out what to do. No,
Yeah.
I'm on your laptop. And for the most part, no, things shift. For the most part, know what you're doing each day.
Yeah, one of the non-negotiables in my coaches, like the way that she does it with us, our planning process is to designate rest days. To like literally put in there, I am resting, I am taking this time off. And what's fascinating is that I personally resist rest. I don't know how to chill. That's just not a default setting that it gets overridden every time. But every single time I've ever gone on vacation and actually slowed down and got out of do mode, I come back with so many ideas and this like revitalization of like life and everything and for business. So I think that's important, especially if you're going to be intentionally planning, is like to plan your rest in there as well.
I love that as well. We also just talked about data, not emotions. Was there anything you had to add about data as a numbers girl?
Yeah, don't let it kill your vibe because I always say it's the microscope of your business that if you literally look at and I do this thing with my clients who A/B test, all my clients A/B test, but I do this with my clients who A/B test where I'm saying, okay, we're running this test and I'm like, I want to know what your assumption is. What is your assumption that your audience is going to behave off of this? And it takes these emotions that people have where it's like, I send this because my audience likes this. And it's, is that a fact or is that an assumption that you have? And then we run the test and put it out there. And then whatever the actual response was, we reflect on it. We're like, did you expect your audience to do this? Or, oh my gosh, they behaved completely opposite of how you thought they were going to behave. And it's a way to bridge the like emotions, like the actions that are driven based off of emotions and actions that are driven based off of data, and kind of bridge it together. And what I've noticed is that it helps my clients with confidence in their like messaging and just like no longer just be like still energetically be doing what you want to do, but have that like subconscious layer of, ooh, I know this is gonna do well, which is then gonna reboost them and give them more energy. And yeah, so I think there's so many layers to it. If you're not an analytical person, don't be afraid of it. Embrace it because it'll tell you so much. It's so fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think another issue that we both have seen our
Mm,
clients do is delegating responsibility. Does that ever happen to you?
yes. I so many times I started putting this in my onboarding paperwork. It's a boundary, I think, where I say I can't care more than you care about your business. Even though I do care a lot about your business, I need you to care more. I think that's one of the biggest, I don't know, downfalls or like roadblocks, bottlenecks, I guess, if we want to call it that, where people will think, "Oh, I'm not good at this," or "I don't want to do this anymore." And people always say, "Outsource, outsource what doesn't bring you joy." But if it's something that's like really crucial, the message of the brand or the visibility of the business, you cannot outsource that because that's your passion. These people are buying from like you and they're buying from your energy. And so when you think, "Oh, I'll just hire someone to do that for me," I think that's one of the biggest mistakes because you can't that's not a successful delegation. What has been your experience with it?
Yeah. I feel like there's delegating and then there's dumping. And I think successful delegation is the person still bought into being responsible for it, but maybe you're the accountable one for making sure that happens. But ultimately, the success of their business, they're responsible for that. I think if that you do get to a point where you want to step back and let your team run things, a good workaround and have them be a little more responsible is to offer some sort of bonus or incentive
Mm,
structure for them. That's why corporations do it. Every corporation I've ever worked for has had a bonus or incentive structure. And that's simply because if there is not any, as much as I want my clients to be successful, no one's going to work as hard as you for your business success because at the end of the day, it's like you need to survive. So tying some sort of incentive can help drive a little bit more responsibility if you are wanting to take a step back. But that's only after you have done all of the foundational work of setting up, like, establishing your brand, establishing your message, your community, and stuff like that. Then you can start outsourcing some of the responsibility in your business. But yeah, I had someone the other day be like, I don't want to come to these weekly calls. But I'm like, but we need you here because we need your input ultimately. And ultimately, it's your business. We have our own businesses that we're.
I would say, Paul, I'm going to add one more thing so I don't derail it. But I'm going to add, like, I think one of the things that is evolved in me as a business owner is turning down people who I feel that energy from on the get, like from the initial ones of, oh, I'm like a little bit of desperation. I'm not making sales, so I need to hire you so that I can do this. That has been a biggest like red flag for clients where I'm like, I think you should focus on your messaging, your like sales, like all of your like the things that are going to help me be successful before you ever sign a contract with me. I need you to work on this. And that's been this big evolution that I know as baby business owners, it's hard to do when you have somebody that's like literally ready to throw their money at you. But if you look at it from a place of like, where's their energy coming from? Is this to like to make something more efficient in their business, or is it to fill a non-successful hole, I guess? Like a hole that's, oh, I'm not making sales, I'm not doing this, like coming from a place of desperation. It's one of the things that I don't know a lot of people talk about in the online space, being able to turn down a client confidently because you're like, I can't care more about this. You need to figure it. This is not your answer.
Okay, so now that we've talked about some of the common symptoms that we see when people are skimming over the root cause and some of the issues that cause, I wanted to talk about a kind of technique that I like to use or go back to whenever I identify a root cause of my business, and that is the 5 whys. And it's really easy. It's basically just asking why until you get to, you might need more than 5 of them, but until you get to the root cause of your problem. So that you're not just slapping a band-aid on it or kind of throwing the baby out with bathwater when you see when you see a problem. So the first step
That
is,
saying.
throw the baby out with bathwater. I don't know. It's the third time I've said it today. Why? I don't know why.
What's manifesting in your life
Why are we throwing babies out?
out of the bathwater? I don't know.
I
I
don't
gotta look at the
know.
origin of that.
I don't even know where that came from. I probably picked that up. It doesn't sound like anything a New Orleans person would say, so I did not get that from me. What TV show did I watch with? The first thing is a challenge. Do we want to do a challenge we're currently facing?
Ooh,
Quick
hot
live.
spot coaching. Yeah,
Live.
let me try to think of a challenge. I don't know. You go first. I'm blanking. I'm like, I
Okay,
got
I
tons
will
of
be
problems.
the coach, so I'm gonna be the problem. Okay, so I think the problem that I used earlier is like I'm doing my seasonal reset, and I identified that I have not. My problem is that I am not going to, and this is not a business problem necessarily, but it does affect my business because how I show up for my clients is not going to my yoga classes consistently. I'm not being able to take
Why?
because I am working too many hours.
Why?
I've thought about this before. So it might not come to strength, but like I'm working too many hours because there is a certain income goal that is my enough number that I have to work this many hours to meet that enough number that I set for myself. So
Is that the end of
why?
the
Now keep asking why. The
why?
why, like why? Okay, so then I might have messed this up, but basically, my why is I'm working too many hours. Why am I working too
Mhm.
many hours? Because I'm not charging enough.
Mm,
Because there's an income goal that I need, but I'm not charging enough to be able to make the amount of revenue that I need to bring in to support my life and my family
mhm.
by working this many hours. So why am I not charging? That would be the
Yeah.
next. So
Why?
why am I charging enough? I'm currently booked out with clients, and I have a couple of clients that I need to raise their rate, but I haven't done it yet
Why not?
because I'm scared and I'm having plaster issues. Okay. But yeah,
Oh, that's
why?
good.
Okay,
I
but
have that problem.
okay, but if I didn't go that deep, let's start out like at first I could have just thought it was like a time management problem. And then maybe I'm like over here in a course on how to manage my time
Yeah.
better. Like I could have went off straight then. Like by getting to the root cause of I am not doing this because I'm scared I'm having imposter syndrome, I can either look at myself in the face and be like, you need to charge more money, just man up and do it. Or if I really can't work through that on my own, then I can make a smart investment of finding a coach that can help talk me through why I'm having
Yeah.
issues going the right way. So I feel like going through this helps you like identify where you're going astray and like what kind of support, if you do need to bring support in, bring it into your business. Let's
Ooh,
do.
that's good.
Uh,
So good.
okay. Do you want to do you?
Oh my
No?
gosh.
You
Yeah,
just
let's do mine. So I have built and created a very beautiful online product, but it is sitting in my desktop and nobody has seen it.
why is it sitting? Why is no one seen it and sitting on your desktop?
Oh, I think nobody would be interested in it. And there's two layers. I'm busy. I'm too busy. And right now my life is a bit chaotic. So I have not launched it.
Okay. So we can either go both ways, and maybe you do like
Mhm.
your whys break out. So, like, why do you think no one would buy it, or why is it that you think no one would buy it?
It feels too nuanced, and I don't have the validation of my audience to that it's something of interest
Then why don't you have the validation of your audience?
because I haven't told them about it.
Yeah, that could be it right there. Go tell them about it. Send out a survey.
Uh,
Prove it if it's right or not. Like
I
there's
think
no.
we can go further, and it's why haven't I
Yeah.
told them about it? Because I'm terrified for
And
it
then
to
why are you
bomb.
terrified?
Because what's very fascinating? It's not part of the exercise. I guess it is. My logic is that I think that my success comes with me attached to my offers, not them doing it themselves with my knowledge. So I keep telling myself, I need to help them. I need to help them. And so I'm afraid of somebody taking it and doing it and not getting the result that they would get if I just walked them through it. Right? That's my
Mhm.
problem.
So I think this is showing me two things too. It's like it's showing you like you're probably always going to come to a mindset block that's blocking
Mhm.
you. But then I also think like that one layer above the mindset block is giving you your next step that you just need to push forward through. Like you're gonna get to the edge and things are gonna feel uncomfortable
Yeah,
whenever you're trying to grow. You're gonna get to that edge. And it's probably always don't want to make that blanket statement. It's always a mindset thing, probably, if you really get to the root cause of it that's causing it. But that layer right before is going to tell you the one thing that you need to do
yeah,
to push through and get that to push through that problem.
totally. No, I feel
Which
that.
is my favorite, which brings me to my favorite thing of getting things done is if you've never read the book, The One Thing, love it. But basically, I'll summarize it for you right now. It's like for everything you're wanting to accomplish in your business, this is how you prioritize. What's the one thing that by doing so would make everything else easier or unnecessary?
I'm adding
Honestly,
that to my book list. That sounds so good.
but that literally, that's pretty much the gist of the book. You probably don't need to read it. No, it's really good. Here, I use a lot of what he talks about.
Spark notes.
Where you might it, but like your Spark Notes version is what's the one thing that by doing so would make everything else unnecessary or easier? Because I think a lot of times when we see people stuck in do mode or throwing things out, I don't want to say it again, throwing things out the window with the baby, throw the baby out the window. See people throwing things out or getting stuck in do mode, it's because they're getting to that edge of like their uncomfortableness, right? And there's a mindset block that they need to, and there's one thing that they need to do to break through it. But you can think of 50 other things above the surface that you would need to do. But the one thing that you need to do that would make everything else easier and necessary is probably going to be uncomfortable. And you're going to have to break through that authority to be able to expand into that next area of growth.
Do it scared. That's what I always tell myself. Do it scared. Do it scared. Doesn't matter.
Do it.
So I think this is a jam-packed episode of lots of things, but I think the one thing that if you take away from this episode is that we would love to do for you, whoever's listening, to do the why challenge on yourself. I think set aside 20 minutes, 30 minutes of self-reflection, identify a problem. I personally like journaling. I think my brain to mouth connection is but my brain to like hand more comes out, more subconscious junk comes out. So whatever you choose, whether it's to say it out loud to yourself or journal it out, find a problem, ask yourself at least 5 whys, and really come down into identifying the root cause of your current problem. I think it'd be fascinating to see what you come out with.
Yeah. So I think it would be very fascinating. You could definitely share, comment down below in our, is it called comments in podcast or
I don't know if you have comments and podcasts.
reviews? Leave a review. Email us. We need to make an email for this podcast. Let us know on Instagram.
Yes.
It'll be linked in the show notes. Let us know on Instagram if you feel comfortable what you come up with your root cause. And if this helped you, we would love to know. And until next week, we're
rooting for you.